Hi children, I'm so glad to talk to you once again through this video. In the last video, you learned about power sharing in civics part. Now today, in this video, you are going to learn about the rise of nationalism in Europe. This comes under history part. The rise of nationalism in Europe. What is nationalism? Nationalism implies a sense of oneness among the people of a particular nation. During 19th century, this nationalism emerged as a force in Europe, and particularly the French Revolution of 1789 brought several changes in Europe. There, the spirit of nationalism played a significant role. So in this chapter, now you are going to learn how the nationalism took roots in Europe and how it developed, how it united the people. These things you are going to learn. And besides that, this chapter tells us the ideas of nationalism and nation states, how the nation states and the idea of nationalism emerged in Europe. Let us discuss about this. Okay, let us see. The rise of nationalism in Europe. Take a look at this portrait here, my dear children. See the picture here. A famous French artist, Frederic Soriot, made this portrait. He prepared a series of 4 prints in 1848. It depicts utopian society. Utopian means something idealistic. It depicts utopian vision, and he wanted to see his dream in a visualized form. In his painting, he visualizes his dream of a world made up of democratic and social republic. In the year 1848, he dreamt of a world made up of democratic and social republics. He imagined democratic system, and he oversaw and he foresaw the social republics. He imagined the democratic setup in 1848. So he visualized this dream of a world made up of democratic and social republics. And his painting shows people of Europe and America, men and women of all ages and social classes, marching in a long train and offering homage to the Statue of Liberty. And here in this picture you will see the long queue. See this long train, long queue. So people of all nations gathered together here, particularly the people of Europe and America, men and women of all ages, and social classes marching in a long train, and here they are offering homage to the Statue of Liberty. And here is the Statue of Liberty, and this Statue of Liberty is a symbol of freedom. And all these people from Europe and America who came over here and offering homage to the Statue of Liberty. Liberty is personified here by the artist as a female figure. Liberty is personified as a female figure which holds charter rights in one hand and the torch in other. You just see, and here is the Statue of Liberty, and this woman figure, a female figure, which holds charter rights in one hand and charter rights in one hand and a torch in other hand. And here under this statue, there you will see some remains. See the remains here. Finally the remains of absolute institutions can be seen broken and shattered on the earth, indicating the end of conservatism and absolutism. Once before 1789 in France, where we saw absolute monarchy but all that conservatism and absolute monarchy was abolished. And here, the artist showed the remains of those absolutism and conservatism. So, the utopian vision implies a vision of a society that is so ideal. So, here, Frederick Sorrow, who visualized this vision, and he wanted to see fraternity among all the nations in the world. He wanted to see fraternity among all the nations in the world. He imagined it. The French Revolution and the idea of a nation. What is a nation? Listen, dear children, what is a nation? Now let me tell you what is a nation. The term nation is derived from the Latin word natio. Natio, which means birth or descent. Again I say, the term nation is derived from the Latin word natio, which means birth or descent. It is a political concept. A nation is a large group of people united by a common history, culture, descent, or language. Inhabiting a particular country or territory is called a nation. Generally, in a nation, people share culture, people share history, people share language. When all these people living together in a territory, that is called a nation. So people share same history, same culture, language in a nation. So all the modern states are nation states today. Particularly the French Revolution. After the French Revolution, many countries emerged as nation states. So the French Revolution of 1789 paved the way for the modern nation states. Today all the states are nation states. So after the French Revolution, these nations emerged as nation states. So in a nation state, people share culture, people share language, people share history. So when they live in a territory, that is called, it is called a nation. The French Revolution introduced new ideas. They are like la patrie, that means the fatherland, and les citoyens, which means citizen. These two are the French expressions. See, the new ideas of this French Revolution the new ideas came into being after the French Revolution. They are la patrie, the fatherland, means own land, and les citoyens, that is citizen among the French people. But before French Revolution, these ideas were not present there, and people were not called as citizens. But after the revolution, people were called citizens. See, in those times when they were under the rule of the kings, they were not called as citizens, but they were called as subjects only. They were subjects. In monarchy, people were called as subjects but not as citizens. So people were now respected. So they are called now citizens. A centralized administrative system and a uniform law for all citizens was introduced after the French Revolution. A centralized administrative system came into force, and a new uniform law for all citizens was also introduced. There was no uniform law. Inequalities were there, disparities were there. There is no common law, there is no uniform law. But after the French Revolution, a centralized administration was established and uniform law was also started, that was introduced, and French was accepted as a common language. Whenever French was accepted as a common language, that common language united all the French people into a strong force. So language, French language united them. As a result, the people developed the spirit of oneness among them. So French was accepted as a common language. It became a national or a common language. So that created a sense of unity among all the French people. And later, Napoleon came to power in the year 1804, my dear children. And when Napoleon came, he introduced Napoleonic Code. And Napoleonic Code was introduced in the year 1804. And this Napoleonic Code removed all the privileges based on birth. And previously, before 1804 or before 1789 revolution, French Revolution, a certain section of people enjoyed all the privileges and rights, particularly the clergies. Clergies enjoyed so many privileges by birth. But now, when Napoleon came to power, he had abolished and removed all the privileges based on birth. And later, it established equality before law and secured right to property. Equality before law was introduced, and also people secured right to property. Now they got the right to acquire property. So when Napoleon came to power, he introduced these. That is, equality before law was introduced and secured. The people secured right to property. And later, he also introduced standardized weights and measures. Yes, he introduced standardized weights and measures. So all these, my dear children, come under this first part. And in the next video, we shall discuss the remaining topics of this chapter. And you have to please go through the textbook, please. Okay, go through the textbook. If you have any doubt, call me. I will clarify your doubts. Okay, my dear children. Okay, till then, bye. Thank you.